Hi, my name is Candace Cotton. I'm the founder of Sufficient Grace Ministries, where our mission is to create awareness for the prevention of child molestation and sexual abuse, and also to help to find healing from past sexual abuse through Christ. Today, what I wanted to talk to you about is how to talk to your children about child molestation. It's really important to talk to kids at their age level. So I've broken it into 3 different age groups: 0 to 5, 6 to 12, and 13 to 18. So with the age group 0 to 5, you have to let them know things in very simple terms. Tell them about their private parts and explain to them that their private parts is for them, only for them to see and touch. And also explain to them that it's okay for certain people to touch those private parts, but only when they're helping. Like, say for instance, to give you a bath or to help you wipe your bottom, different things like that. Children have to know that it's okay for certain people like mommy and daddy or maybe grandma to touch their private areas, but everybody, let them know that it's not okay for just anyone to touch their private areas. And you also should tell them that if anybody tries to touch or look at their private areas, people that are not allowed to, on the list of people of, say, mom and dad and grandparents or whoever is a trusted adult, if another person tries to touch them, whether it be a child or another adult, let them know that they have to tell you right away. And you have to remember that this is not a one-time conversation. This is something that should be ongoing with your child. As they grow up, the conversations will get more detailed, but at a very young age, it's very important to keep it very simple so that they can remember, and you go over it time and time again, not every day, but maybe every couple of months or so. Go over it with them so that if they ever come into any type of situation where someone tries to touch them or ask could they see their private parts, they remember that that's a no-no and they need to tell somebody right away. The next age group is age 6 to 12. Now, this age group, they're starting to understand things a lot more, especially when you get to the older end of the age group. But at this age group, you can tell children things in more detail. So you would tell them, of course, building upon if you have been speaking to your children about sexual abuse at a young age in their private areas and how to keep them private, you can start to build upon that information that they already know. At this age, 6 to 12, in this age group, children are starting to, or they have already began to bathe themselves. So they should already know that their private area is just for them to touch. And so you can kind of build upon that by starting to tell them about good touch and bad touch. So, and this is something that you can tell little children too, but they will probably start to grasp and understand it better as they get a little bit older. So, you can explain that good touch is something like, say for instance, a high five from a teacher or a pat on the back, something like that. That's, something that would be good touch from someone that is not in your family. But good touch from a family member would be a hug or a kiss, depending on who the family member is. And you can also tell them what bad touch is. Most times bad touch is not just someone touching your private area, but it can also be something like a person touching you and it makes you feel uncomfortable. All right, so my cat wants to join us. This is Beryl. Another thing that you should tell your children is that, and this is for any age group, no one should be touching them over their clothes either. And that's just as bad as touching them under their clothes. And if anybody tries to touch them over their clothes, they should tell somebody right away. And also with this age group, it's a good idea to start telling them about the fact that there are some circumstances where other people will have to touch their private areas. And those are situations like going to the doctor's office. You might want to let them know that doctors are able to touch their private areas, but only for helping them, and also for checkups for them. He's a distraction. And and it's always in a situation where a parent or a guardian is in the room with them so that they can make sure that they stay safe. The last age group is age 13 to 18. And I feel like this group is probably the hardest to talk to about child molestation because they already know everything. But it's still very important to talk to this age group about sexual abuse. In fact, it might be more so important because they have more freedom to go out and do things around this age. They start in high school, and they come in contact with a lot of people that are not involved with family. Say, for instance, they hang out with their friends after school at their house, or, you know, they have after-school activities. And so they're not always with parental supervision or close to parents, so that they like to, I would like to say, they like to expand their boundaries and try to stretch the boundaries and see what they can get away with. And most times you don't find out that a teenager is in trouble until they're really in trouble. So it's really important to talk to your teens about sexual abuse and give them a clear understanding of what it is. And like, if you've been talking to them about it since they were young, then they already know certain things. But at this age, children like to experiment and like to find out things for themselves. And so if they have clear understanding of what your expectations from them are, then it will help them to kind of because I have a teen and I know that is hard. I was a teen one time, so I know that is hard. But, you know, it's very important to talk to them and to keep talking to them so that they can understand that certain things is just off limits. And so I know that teens are going to experiment with each other, but the most important thing to tell your teenager, 13 to 18, is that it's not okay for them to be involved with any adult over the age of 18. Whether it be somebody they meet online or someone they meet at school. You know, there's been so many situations where teenagers are convinced by older adults to get into relationships in certain situations that teens are not ready for. And actually, that is the same as child sexual assault, child sexual abuse, and child molestation. And, you know, because the cat. And, you know, because they think that they're old enough to be in adult situations, which they're really not. They will think that it's okay to be put in those situations. But we as parents have to really let our teens know that if any adult tries to come on to them, giving them compliments, try to tell them, you know, it's okay, you're old enough to do this, you're mature enough, they still need to come to you and tell you right away. They may not want to, they may not like it, but it's important that they do. And let your teen know that any adult that tries to speak to them or tries to talk to them in any type of sexual manner is actually wrong and illegal. And they have, well, they don't have to because it's hard to make a teen do anything. But you really strongly suggest to them that they should tell somebody. And if they can't talk to you about it, talk to a counselor at school, talk to an authority figure so that they can get the help that they need and so that they can get away from that person that is trying to sexually abuse them. And so that's the conclusion of this video for today. But I just want to just touch upon one thing. Talking to your children regularly about child molestation and sexual abuse is very important because they may not encounter it today or tomorrow, but maybe one day they might encounter it. And if they have these tools to know what to do in those situations, then it's more likely that the situation, even if it happens, it won't happen over and over again, or it won't continue to happen. So it's very important to start talking to them early. And even if they're teenagers now, start talking to them about it now and keep talking to them about it. It's really important. Thank you. Have a blessed day. Goodbye. Oh, and my cat Beryl wanted to say bye too. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye. Say see you later. Bye.